the beast with the unspoken name. In the dense forests of native Algonquian tribal lands, there exists a creature so feared that its name is never to be spoken aloud. Being born of dark magic and ancient curses, it is said to roam the woods, preying on the lost and the desperate. Centuries ago, before the white man invaded the region that today is known as Western Vermont, a harsh winter fell upon the Abenaki tribe. It was colder and longer than any of their people had ever known. Food became scarce, and members of the tribe grew desperate. Among them was a hunter named Kichi, known for his bravery and skill. One fateful day, Kichi ventured deep into the forest, hoping to find food such as a rabbit or deer to feed his starving family. As the sun set and the shadows grew long, Kichi stumbled upon a cave in a large group of rock formations. As he ducked down and peered inside, he found remnants of a past life. Broken handmade pots for cooking, tattered clothes, remnants of a fire pit. He called out in case someone would be nearby, but was only answered with a strange, eerie silence. The freezing wind outside the cave blustered, a cold unlike he had ever felt. He realized he was so far from his village that he would freeze to death trying to make it back if he tried to return in the darkness of night. The penetrating cold and his desperation drove him to stay the night in the cave, despite an unsettling feeling that crept over him. He gathered what little wood he could find and rekindled the fire, its warmth a small comfort against the encroaching darkness. Exhausted, he lay down on the cold ground, pulling his fur cloak tightly around him. Sleep came quickly, but it was not to last. In the dead of night, a chilling howl pierced the silence, jolting Kichi awake. His heart pounded as he strained to listen. The sound was unlike any he had ever heard before, an eerie, mournful wail that seemed to come from the depths of the forest. He crept to the mouth of the cave and peered out into the night. And there, silhouetted against the moonlit snow, was a creature of nightmares. Tall and gaunt, with eyes that glowed like embers, the beast stood at the edge of the clearing. It had wings that stretched out from its back, and its skeletal frame was covered in tattered flesh. On its head it wore what looked like the skull of a large beast, like some sort of tribal mask of war. Its breath came in visible puffs of steam. Kichi's blood ran cold as he realized the creature was hunting him. He retreated into the cave, his mind racing. He suddenly remembered the tales his elders had told him as a child of a creature so horrible that its name was never to be spoken. The creature many of the children called the Wendigo, a name only whispered and never within earshot of an elder. The stories were well known among his people, a malevolent spirit that preyed on those who succumbed to greed or desperation. Kichi knew he had to act quickly. He grabbed his bow and arrows, his hands trembling as he knocked an arrow and aimed at the cave entrance. The Wendigo's howl grew louder, echoing off the cave walls. Kichi's breath came in shallow gasps as he waited, every muscle tensed. The beast emerged from the shadows. It moved with an unnatural speed and grace, its presence exuding an aura of charisma and death. Suddenly, the creature lunged into the cave, its eyes locking onto Kichi. He released the arrow, but the Wendigo moved with an unnatural speed, dodging the projectile effortlessly. Kichi tried to flee, but the creature was upon him instantly. It grabbed him with its mighty hands and pulled him down to the ground with ease. K'Chee fell hard on his back, and the creature moved on top of him, pinning him down with its massive size and weight. It moved its head down close to his face. It was staring right into K'Chee's eyes, and he could feel its breath. He reached for his trusted hunting blade, intending to deal this foul being a fatal stab in the neck. He felt a surge of confidence, realizing the beast had underestimated him, and without making a sound, K'Chee moved the blade swiftly right to the jugular of this horrible creature. He smiled at it as he felt the tip of the knife break the thick flesh of the beast's neck. He summoned all of his strength, ready to plunge the tip of the blade deeper into its neck, when suddenly it whispered to him. And in that instant, K'Chee froze, as if in a trance, with the tip of his knife into the beast's neck. It spoke in a voice that seemed to come from the depths of the earth, promising him power and survival in exchange for his soul. As it spoke, he could feel some of its blood dripping on him from the superficial wound. He knew in his mind all he had to do was simply thrust the knife with one final push, but his body remained terrified and entranced as the Wendigo spoke to him, convincing him that his best chance of survival was to give up and stop fighting. K'Chee could not resist that voice. He dropped his weapon to the ground and quickly succumbed to the creature's will, and in that moment, he was lost. The next morning, the cave was silent once more. The fire had burned out, and the snow had drifted in, covering the signs of the struggle. K'Chee was gone, leaving only his knife and bow behind. The villagers never saw K'Chee again, but they spoke of the creature that had taken him. They warned their children never to venture too deep into the forest, especially during long, cold winters. They knew that the creature still roamed, always hungry, always searching for its next victim. And to this day, the Algonquian people remember the tale of the hunter and the creature. They honor the memory of those who were lost and respect the power of the dark force that dwells in the heart of the forest, and they never, ever speak its name.